So you wanna be the king of games, but your matches all end the same. I've got just what you need. Feel free to SMD. Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back with another episode of SMD, the quick and dirty way for filthy netdeckers to no-skill their way up the Master Duel ladder. Now that DPE's out, it's finally time to take a look at its intended deck, Hero. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Looking for a place that anyone can upload Master Duel decks and get feedback from the community? Want to give opening Master Packs a try without spending real money? Want to know the gem cost of a deck before you start building? Then check out www.ygoprodeck.com. With that, let's get some help with Hero. Hero is an archetype of like 10,000 monsters whose genesis was in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. These costumed superheroes have received more support than Marvel, so there's gotta be something they're good at. Right? Well, you'd think so, but currently they're about as good as Thor 2. They have an amazing capacity to OTK, but in a world where access code Talker is legal, that doesn't really count for anything. Outside of that, they can produce boards that are troublesome to remove, or boards with individually powerful monsters, but a lack of protection, zero payoffs, and a weakness to common hand traps has kept them rogue for the last few years. But things might be finally changing for our costumed comrades. Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer isn't just a good monster, he's a good hero. This monster gives the archetype a boss you can build turn 1 that resists Nibiru, insulates a Destiny Hero Plasma from the crackback, and depending on how he's made, starts your combos in the first place. Since this deck can make him without the use of Fusion Destiny, you can reserve Verte's Best Pal as a combo starter for bad hands, a backup plan if you're interrupted, or a ceiling extender if you jam everything through for Dystopia. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up, the Master Duel Tax, 3 Max C and 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. 2 Vision Hero Increase, theoretically you could get away with 1, but I fear God and the Master Duel Shuffler. After that, we've got 1 copy of Destiny Hero Denier. This is almost as big for the archetype as Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. This card allows you to play 3 copies of Malicious, even if it's semi-limited. We've got 1 copy of Elemental Hero Stratos. I've been toying with ratios and might prefer a second one, but 3 a hero lives is just so unbelievable. 2 copies of Vision Hero Vion, 2 copies of Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. You really would like one to be able to send off of the Vion, but it's also not terrible if you get it into your hand. 1 copy of Evil Hero Adusted Gold for Malicious Bane, 1 Elemental Hero Liquid Soldier. This is fantastic for setting up a turn 1 Dark Law in hands that don't include a hero lives or a mask change. It's also great for the crackback as a follow-up normal. Triple Vision Hero Ferris, 1 Destiny Hero Dynatag, 2 Destiny Hero Malicious, 1 Elemental Hero Honest Neos, and 1 Destiny Hero Plasma. And look at that beautiful royal rare. We're on 1 Polymerization, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 3 A Hero Lives. I can't believe they get to play this in Master Duel. This can start your plays either by searching an Elemental Hero Stratos, or if you have everything you need already, you can get a Shadow Mist for a tasty mask change. 1 Dark Calling, 2 Fusion Destiny, triple Pot of Prosperity. I realize this seems a little out of place in a deck that can produce OTKs, but much more often than not, you are chewing through an already established board and will lose some of your playmakers to negation. As a result, you won't be able to mount an OTK, and it's much better to play this card because when you're going first, it is functionally a searcher for mask change. Realistically, the best tool in your arsenal. Master Hero Dark Law just reads win the game against a lot of the archetypes in Master Duel, which is why I love him. Finally, we're playing 2 copies of Called by the Grave. In the extra, we've got the Macro on a Stick Master Hero Dark Law, 1 copy of Master Hero Blast, and 1 copy of Master Hero Acid. Just good to get any monster you're going to be normal summoned. An insulation against targeted negation, things like Imperm or Effect Veiler, and these 2 line up with Stratos and Liquid Soldier. 1 copy of Destiny Hero Dangerous. This card's not very good, but he's a fantastic Fusion Destiny target for exactly 1 Malicious and 1 Shadow Mist. Frequently, you need this card to produce a search if you want any hope at making a reasonable board, and this is a good way to get to it. It's also a 6-star Destiny Hero monster, which is either half of DPE after you get that combo going. 1 copy of Vision Hero Adoration. There's a lot of scenarios in which you just want 2 heroes. Get something out of your hand, for instance. 1 copy of Destiny Hero Dystopia. This is your second DPE and the best summon off of Fusion Destiny before he came out. Destiny Hero Dystopia, if his attack is different than his normal attack, is functionally a Trident. It also burns your opponent, and unfortunately time isn't a rule in Master Duel, but still has its applications. Dystopia is really, really good because you can send a Dynatag, which increases its attack on its own, or it can work with Dread Decimator in order to be turned on a multitude of different ways. We play one Evil Hero Malicious Bane. This wipes up board states where the negates have already been exhausted, but the monsters still remain on the field. Things like Barone are still hard to hit through, even if they've been spent. We've got 2 copies of Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. I'm not sure if you should be playing 1 or 2, but I do know that it's very good. Monsters your opponent controls lose 200 attack for each hero card in your graveyard. People misinterpret this effect in the TCG to think it just decreases your opponent's attack and defense by 400, but in a hero deck, it decreases it to like 0. This means you're almost always beating an opposing DPE because their monsters will be way smaller than yours. Additionally, you can pop a card you control and 1 card on the field, and there are so many ways to get advantage out of this, especially in a hero deck. We've got 1 copy of Extra Hero Wonder Driver. This sucks because unfortunately it is a light hero and runs up against the issues with like Fusion Destiny, but in hands where you can activate it, it represents an additional Master Hero Dark Law at the end of your combo. 2 copies of Cross Crusader. I can't believe they printed this card. It's absolutely bonkers for the hero archetype. If Link summoned, you can target a Destiny hero in your graveyard, special summon it, and tribute a Destiny hero to add a hero with a different name from your deck to your hand. And of course, we've got 1 copy of Dread Decimator to facilitate OTKs and give piercing, and 1 Verte Anaconda. Frequently, you aren't running up into a lock like Extra Hero Cross Crusaders, Vision Hero Ferrises, or Fusion Destiny, and you just have to jam through like a Vision Hero Vion and a free special from your hand. That's not too difficult to do, and in those scenarios, it's good just to have this. More important is the ability to threaten it. If your opponent has a DPE on their side of the field, you can go into Verte Anaconda to prompt that out before committing to something like a Ferris. Finally, I should note that a lot of the justification I've given in previous hero deck profiles as to why you shouldn't be playing Sunriser in a post-Bode but pre-back format isn't really applicable to a best of 1. So don't balk at the big red boy if you like him. I just don't. Our match is up against, unsurprisingly, Sword Soul, and if you've been playing Master Duel at all this week, you know that this deck is as popular as it is powerful, and it's very powerful. We are going first, and our hand looks great, but this game also includes 2 cards that used to be Kryptonite to our heroes. I'll show them as they appear. The first is this, Psi Frame Gear Gamma. This negation and destruction keeps bodies off your side of the field for Extra Hero Cross Crusader, and the Vision Hero Ferris line used to be so important to resolve, the deck couldn't accomplish much without it. I'll show you how the new hero deck has evolved to compensate. We'll get a Denier off the Shadow Mist activation, then go for a Vision Hero Vion. The Vion is going to send a copy of Malicious to the graveyard, then banish the Ferris to add a Polymerization to hand. Because we are uniquely able to make DPE with Poly specifically, we can summon it from deck and then fire off a Polymerization to make the big bad boy before investing too much in anything. Down comes DPE, and afterwards we can activate the graveyard effect of Denier to summon itself. We will link off both the Denier and the Vision Hero Vion, and because our Ferris did not resolve both of its effects, we can still make a Predaplant Verte Anaconda. Now we're doing this because I sniff out another card in my opponent's hand, the card that this deck used to be unable to beat under any condition, and he will come down momentarily. We'll activate Dystopia's effect targeting Denier, and our opponent will reveal the big rocky boy. Now, DPE is uniquely positioned to play around Nibiru by chaining its effect, destroying 2 cards on your side of the field, and retaining the DPE for a future turn. After the rock has resolved, we take our token and end our turn. Now, we will remember to activate in the graveyard the effect of the DPE, very important in paper, but you get a prompt in Master Duel, so it's very hard to screw up. In standby phase, we'll resolve the effect of that DPE, not an independent activation, so not a lot our opponent can do, and we will put it in attack position. Now, the Nibiru can't even contest the token because its attack is so low. Our opponent will begin with an emergence, then normal summon a Moye. They'll trigger the effect of the Moye, revealing a Taya. That's pretty bad for me, but it means that unless the last card in hand is exactly Longwan, we're probably fine. We're going to fire the DPE, and they switch their Nibiru to defense and pass turn. From here, all we have to do is OTK. Now, the last card in hand is probably a hand trap, so we'll have to compensate. We're going to begin with a copy of Liquid. We're going to bring back this copy of Shadow Mist, fire the effect, and down comes the Ash Blossom. Now that we know every single card in our opponent's hand and on their side of the field, we should be able to easily assemble lethal. From here, we can use the on-field monsters in order to make a Cross Crusader, then trigger its effect to bring back from graveyard the Dystopia. Dystopia triggers when it's special summoned, not just fusion summoned, so we'll do another 11. We'll banish Malicious for the one we tucked back into deck, and then use it as a search for a Ferris. With access to the Ferris, Ferris line, we should be able to get the monsters on board to put a lethal push onto the field. We'll go Ferris into increase effect, summoning itself, increases second effect to summon a Vion, and Vion's effect in order to bin a Ferris. From here, we're going to go for the Dynatag to start popping, and our opponent concedes. So we're back with a list, and God does it feel good to be playing this again. I hope this can serve as a starting point for your own hero's journey.